I heard an introduction this morning, just prior to you giving a speech, and it went through your past, your biography, all the different things you've done. What I'd like you to tell us, which we were not told about this morning, are moments that changed your life, changed your awareness, changed your direction. What moments can you tell us about?
There are people who dedicate their lives to the mission of truth, who pursue knowledge, who pursue the spiritual path, who become not only teachers but guides. They are the shepherds of mankind. These are the prince of all men. The rest are lesser people. The prince of all men. One such man traveled from Pakistan in 1960 when I was 18 years of age. I was already of a spiritual bent of mine. I was already someone who was showing capacity for perception, understanding, questioning my surroundings. But I didn't have a guide. I didn't have a shining light. No. My father had died when I was 15, but he gave to me the love for religion. And when I was 18, this man came to Trinidad. And after listening to him, my life was changed. And this is why at the age of 72, while travel is difficult for me, I much rather be at home. Yet I travel. Perchance that by traveling, a little 16-year-old out there, his heart will be touched. His life will be changed. And when I'm in my grave, he's on the road climbing up the mountain. So this was a turning point in my life. When I met with Maulana Dr. Muhammad Fadlur Rahman Ansari. Another major turning point was when I was introduced to philosophy at university. This was not my choice. I would have preferred mathematics. But Dr. Ansari said, no, philosophy. And so I majored in philosophy. And when I went into the philosophy classroom, it was like a fish in water. My natural elements. Philosophy and religion are so close to each other. Another major turning point was when I graduated and went back to Trinidad in 1971, and I had to look for a job. I didn't want to become an imam in a masjid, and he who pays the piper calls the tune. So I applied for a job in the foreign ministry. And they interviewed me and they said, yes, we like to have you in the foreign ministry, but we want to send you back to university to do international relations. When I got into the classroom of international politics and international economics and international monetary economics and the history of international relations, again it was like a fish in water. I was in my natural elements, yeah. It was because of this combination of religion and philosophy and international affairs that I was able to now develop this branch of knowledge of Islamic eschatology, which no other scholar has done so far.
Islamic scholar Imran Hosein was born in the Caribbean island of Trinidad in 1942. His ancestors migrated to the Caribbean from India about 200 years ago. He studied Islam, philosophy and international relations at several universities and institutions of higher education, including Al-Azhar University in Cairo, Egypt, the Institute of International Relations of the University of West Indies in Trinidad, the University of Karachi in Pakistan, the Aamiin Institute of Islamic Studies in Karachi, Pakistan, and the Graduate Institute of International Studies in Geneva, Switzerland. In his professional career, he worked for several years as a Foreign Service Officer in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Government of Trinidad and Tobago, but gave up his job in 1985 to devote his life to the mission of Islam. On his return to Pakistan, he was appointed in 1986 as principal of the Aamiin Institute, from which he had himself graduated as a student 14 years earlier. Three of his teachers were still members of the teaching staff. The institute had been established by Maulana Dr. Fadlur Rahman Ansari, a non-sectarian, but after his death it had become sectarian. Imam Imran Hosein tried but failed to restore the institute to its non-sectarian origin, and then sadly migrated to USA in 1989. He lived in New York 10 years, during which time he held the post of Director of Islamic Studies for the Joint Committee of Muslims Organizations of Greater New York. He lectured on Islam at several American and Canadian universities, colleges, churches, synagogues, prisons, community halls, etc. He also participated in beneficial other interreligious dialogue with Jewish rabbis and Christian priests and scholars. He was for some time the Imam at Masjid Darul Quran in Long Island, New York. He also conducted the Friday Salat al-Jum'ah and delivered the khutbah at the headquarters of the United Nations organizations in Manhattan once every month for 10 years continuously. He has traveled continuously around the world on Islamic lecture tours since his graduation from Aamiin in 1971 at the age of 29. Even now at the age of 72, inshallah, he is still traveling to new places such as Iran, Russia, Brazil, and Mauritius. He has written about 24 books on Islam, which have invariably been received with respect by the reading public. Most of his recent works have been devoted to Islamic eschatology, a branch of knowledge which he is now pioneering. Among them are his bestseller Jerusalem in the Quran, which is being sold outside, an Islamic view of the fate of Jerusalem, and an Islamic view of Gog and Magog in the modern world.